Good morning, and welcome to another Friday update on how things are going in Canada. Who knows, maybe it'll be better this time. Today I've got two fun stories that I'll be putting on either end of three bad stories. It's like a bad news sandwich on good news bread. Saving the best for first, Calgary City Council passed their affordable housing plan in a landslide 12-3 vote. They only needed to flip one councillor, but they flipped 5. I followed the public hearing pretty closely on this one, and there was a huge turnout from the yes side, outnumbering the NIMBYs at least 5-1. There's a ton of highlights from that meeting, and I might do a video on it once I have time to sift through it all. Now, there's still more work to be done, and there's going to be another big fight on the citywide upzoning sometime next year, but for now, this is a win for affordable housing. Switching to bad news, the inflation numbers for August came in at 4%, higher than the 3.3% in July and well above our 2% target, increasing the possibility of a rate hike before the end of the year. In fact, there's a lot of indications from a variety of measures that the market is already anticipating another rate hike soon. For example, there's been a significant shift in the BAX curve. Also, 5- and 10-year Canada bond yields are going up, so interest rates being higher for longer is already being priced in. One thing to note is that you may have seen headlines saying that the increase in inflation is mostly due to gasoline prices. To clarify, what that means is that gasoline prices dropped year over year in July, which suppressed the inflation numbers for last month, but in August they were pretty much flat, so inflation turned out to be higher. If you remove the effect of gasoline, the inflation for both months would be even higher at 4.1%. Looking forward, the increase in gasoline from September of 2022 to August 2023 is already almost 9%, and the price of oil has gone up since then, so next month we'll be seeing the effect of a real increase in gas prices on inflation. So don't be too surprised if the September inflation numbers, which will be released on October 17th, come out even higher than 4%. Moving right along, numbers reported by Canada's large banks indicate that BMO, TD, and CIBC currently have around 20% of their entire mortgage portfolios in negative amortization, which means that the interest costs have risen so high that the mortgage payment no longer covers even the interest each month, so the borrower owes more and more money with each month that passes. Note that this only applies to variable rate fixed payment mortgages, which aren't offered by all the banks. Scotiabank and RBC don't allow this to happen, so they don't have any mortgages like this in the mix. Still, between the other three banks, that's about $130 billion worth of mortgages in this situation, and that's before looking at smaller private lenders. Next, not housing related, but still terrible news, the UN Special Rapporteur on Modern Slavery Tamoya Obokata recently spent 2 weeks in Canada investigating our temporary foreign worker program and described it as a breeding ground for contemporary forms of slavery. Not great! I'm not going to get into the details in this video, but there's a good interview on the CBC Front Burner podcast, and the details are quite horrifying. It's really just another example of how Canada is exploiting foreign workers for cheap labor and turning a blind eye to abuse in the industry. If you're not already aware of this issue, this podcast episode is a good intro. Finally, the least important story of the day, some of my videos are going to be featured in a Nuit Blanche exhibit in Toronto. Nuit Blanche is a one-night art exhibition that's happening tomorrow night, September 23rd. I haven't been in about 10 years, but I remember it being pretty fun. A few of my videos are being featured in an exhibit curated by Voids Tio, an alternate reality visual artist. The event will be at Studio IDFK in downtown Toronto and should be on display for the week after the event as well. Obviously, you can just watch my videos online, but if you're in Toronto and you want to see some cool stuff by actual artists, go check out the exhibit and the rest of Nuit Blanche as well. Thanks for watching, and enjoy your weekend!